The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
Well, I've got Lawson here from Sunflower. Hello.
Hello, hello. Hello
Congratulations on being our first ever band from Australia. I'm really excited about this. And the fact that you can chat to someone so far away, even with all this technology, like totally blows my mind still.
It is a phenomenon. It is a phenomenon. I'm just an illusion right now on the other side of the world.
Just wanted to ask you, first of all, whereabouts are you talking to us from?
I'm in Brisbane, so that's the capital city of Queensland, which is sort of the northeastern state of Australia. So we're about 12 hours in a car from Sydney, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think so. I've never been, but I can kind of visualize it in my head from what I think it might be like.
Yeah.
So obviously the band Sunflowers, you're 1/5 of the band. There's 5 of you. Do you want to introduce what you do in the band and then who else is missing as well and what they do, if that's right?
Yeah, cool. So I don't even know whether to call myself a lead singer. I'm like a co-lead singer because Kahlia is the other, I guess, fronted powerhouse to the band. She is the other lead singer and she's also the other predominant songwriter in the band. So both her and I we write still the majority of the songs. Sort of our little baby. We've got a lead guitarist, Dave Webster, who's a gun. He's like super wicked asset to have on board, and he can do all kinds of magical stuff on the fretboard. We've got 2 brothers on bass and drums, Sam and Luke Woods. So Sam's the bass player and Luke's the drummer, and they make the rhythm section, which is kind of cool as well. So there's interesting ties in the whole mix, just to spice it up a bit.
How did you guys all meet?
So Kahlia and I met at Blues Fest in Brisbane. Sorry, not in Brisbane, in Byron Bay last year. We were both in other bands and we were competing against each other in this Battle of the Bands kind of competition. But it was actually a really good thing to be a part of. And I saw her old band play and I just thought she was unreal. And so we sort of hit it off and we were like chatting post the whole festival and ended up starting writing some songs together. And there was one particular song called Golden Years, which we haven't actually released yet, but that was the one that sort of sparked, I guess, even the idea of, I've written songs, plenty of friends around the place just for the collaboration exercise of it. But this was and it still is a really great track. So we decided to start Sunflower off that. And that's sort of where we are now.
It's mad that you've only been together for about a year.
As
a band. Yeah, and achieved so much already.
Yeah, it has been a year. It's been definitely been a year for sure. But but we're still standing, so that's the important thing.
100%. So what's the writing process like for you guys as a band? Like, does it mainly come from you and Kahlia, or?
Yeah, so we sort of start, I guess, if we're writing a song together, like oftentimes one of us will sort of have a basic theme or premise or line or I can't even say this word, but I know it's a colloquialism. Colloquialism.
Colloquialism.
Yeah. Should have listened more in high school, but that's the premise of where we sort of start, and then oftentimes like she'll have a melody to match some chords, and lyrics will flow from there. But I definitely write lyrics. Lyrics are like the last thing I'll write, and I'll always write sort of melodies and chords and that kind of thing beforehand, and then that's sort of how we, I guess, make this the fundamental before we take it to the others, in the band. So
and you've released you released your first single like peak pandemic. Well, it was like that in the UK. Better Days.
Yeah.
Was that intentional?
It was. We actually had this other song in the works, which was our second single, Get Yourself Together. And I said, no, guys, we've got to release this song because it's just the most timely thing to get a song like that out when everything was so shit. And it was just like one of those things, like it actually did really well, I think, because the whole premise of releasing something like that was about obviously just sort of saying, like, I guess putting hope back into the idea that good things are still coming, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I felt it was the right, it all happened for a reason, and it was the right time for that to happen, I think. So.
And what was it like releasing the first single, like amidst the craziness? Did you have to do anything totally different to how you would have usually done it, or?
Yeah, well, we got on TikTok, which is a big one. We've been on TikTok, so we've been trying to sort of push that side of things, which has been interesting. But yeah, just thinking with the eyes of a person stuck at home, I guess, is the kind of thought. And we were obviously stuck at home ourselves, so the whole thing was kind of, I guess it was just all about finding a way to make sure that we we're getting a story, a narrative to what we're doing across, but also making sure that we're still delivering quality, you know, the whole time, which I think people give you a bit of a break on those kind of things, but it was really just about thinking outside the box and trying to find different ways to make that work.
The Alpha Sessions.
The next track, Get Yourself Together. I feel like that title is also quite relevant because 2020 has been a bit of a year, obviously, and like getting yourself together and kind of tightening things up and making things a bit more positive for the rest of the year. You said that you were originally planning to release that first, but you kind of swapped the order around. What's the song about?
So that was actually Kahlia's song, but it was,
nice.
I mean, I guess we both sort of sculpted it in the end, but she wrote this song, I guess, about someone that she was trying to say that she, you know, wants to give them the chance and the time of day, and she wants to help them become the person they want to be kind of thing, or support them in that, but that they sort of need to help themselves in the first place. And it was sort of, in a lot of ways, it is a sappy love, but it's got a nice optimistic meaning behind it, but also it's sort of telling, it is very much telling someone, you got to get yourself together. It's now or never kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Otherwise, scooting.
I was watching the video. I wanted to know, are they like supposed to be younger versions of yourselves?
Oh yeah, the video is really, really interesting for that.
Really
so
cool.
The actors and actresses in that, they aren't playing us as band members per se. They're playing the story of I guess there could be anyone really, but they're two obviously kids that live next door to one another, and they're growing up basically throughout the years, and the girls' mums are really hands-on, like helicopter sort of mum, trying to tell her to be a certain way and dress a certain way and sort of be girly and stuff, and she's not really into that kind of thing. And then the boy's mum's obviously, the boy's dad's obviously the opposite, and he's sort of got that. It was just totally playing on stereotypes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and over exaggerating, but I guess both of them sort of find a bit of refuge in one another. And the idea of the story is kind of that, they don't even actually necessarily end up together in the end or anything like that. It's more so that they've helped each other become, find, it sounds so cliche, but find their identity, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, not cliche, kind of true, I reckon.
Yeah. That was the main idea behind it, is to incorporate those kind of, it doesn't end a typical way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that out of it. I'm glad you liked it.
No, it was really cool actually, and I think the way it's kind of directed is that it could be interpreted in so many different ways. Which is why I wanted to ask you the question, because obviously, like, you had a set way of how people should interpret it in mind, so that it's good to hear that.
Yeah, cheers.
What about influences? Where would you say you guys get influences from?
Oh, a lot of British music.
Yeah.
I do love British music. I personally take a lot of influence from, obviously, like contemporary pop rock of the 60s and 70s, big time. Okay. So anything from, I guess it's all in the same boat, but the Kinks, the Small Faces, the Beatles, obviously, the Monkees, those kind of bands, through to personally, like, my personal favorite band is Oasis. So I think, that kind, and I know how big, those two boys are over there, but that kind of style of songwriting, it's very sort of like uplifting, but also it's got depth to the lyricism in it, and a lot of it's reflective, but it's very anthemic as well, like it's big choruses and that kind of thing, and sing-alongs and that kind of stuff. So that's where a lot of my influence comes from personally. Kahlia comes from more of like a Joni Mitchell, Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac. She loves James Taylor, she loves Paul Simon, she loves these kind of people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and now that you mention it, it kind of sounds like a mix of both, which is really cool actually. Yeah,
there's definitely, like, I love the big guitars and the blues rock and stuff. I've never been really a metalhead, but I love the sort of gritty bluesy stuff, and Carly is a lot more sort of like, she's pretty on the fretboard, you know what I mean? She's
more delicate, almost.
I'm there bashing away, and she's just sort of, that's and then there's a beautiful blend somewhere in the middle. So
and what would you say, like, what have you been listening to over the past year that's got you through the crazy times?
Look, a lot of Oasis, to be honest.
Have you seen their documentary?
Oh, Supersonic, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, big fan of anyone who can come from so little to, the heights they achieved, and they're just mad, like totally mad the whole way, like just crazy about it. And the songwriting is just second to none. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a bad headache here, aren't I? It's all going a bit haywire. I don't really know what I'm meant to be doing with my hair at the moment. Just making sure it doesn't fall off my head.
It's doing a great job.
Yeah. Christmas, give me a break.
Yeah. Okay. And what about writing inspiration?
Look, I love starting. I've actually been listening to a heap of like really classic, like not even just in terms of like a British pop rock sense, like stuff like I heard that stupid song, baby, give it up, give it up. Baby, give it up. I heard that song again last night. Was that like some 80s like, glam thing?
I can't think who sings that. I've gone totally blank.
Yeah. But I had because I do the covers gigs on the side every now and then to sort of survive.
Yeah.
And you know, you get used to sort of playing like to people's taste kind of thing, or like figuring out what people's tastes are. And that was one I heard. But I've been listening to those kind of songs, like those like really cliche, like kind of cheesy but classic sing-alongs. You know what I mean? You know, Wonderball's obviously in there as well, and like there's a couple of others. But I think there's a few in Australia that are very like Australian specific, and then there's a few that are like totally worldly specific as well. So
what are the Australian specific ones?
People love do you know Horses by Daryl Braithwaite?
No.
We'll be riding on the horses, yeah. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. Do you know that song? Oh, it's a good thing if you don't.
I've never heard that before.
I can't stand it. But it's interesting. And obviously everyone loves a bit of AC/DC and stuff like that as well. You know what I mean? But I'm a massive AC/DC fan too. But finding like just listening to some of those anthems and going, what is it about this? I can't even call it crap anymore because I'm here listening to it. But what is it about these songs that has so many people hooked? You know what I mean? Without them even knowing, you know what I mean? They just know.
It's weird because, like, obviously, you guys launched this year. Have you had the chance to gig at all, or has it all just been online stuff?
Yeah, we've been so lucky. Like we because we're in Queensland, and they basically Queensland became. It's not so much right now because of what's just gone down a week ago, but it for a while there this year towards the later end of the year became a bubble of, you know, all Queensland, like because no one was leaving or entering without quarantining or anything like that. So
yeah,
it was a period of time there where it was a total bubble just to people from Queensland. And so we played a couple of festivals which were totally Queensland only festivals. So we went up the coast, and there was some cool stuff like where we are in Brisbane, you can sort of go north and then you can go inland because we're on the east coast of Australia, so you can go inland.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, so you go west essentially, and there's like all these beautiful, you know, like natural, almost like amphitheater kind of style, like naturally formed places, which are just perfect for festivals.
Yeah.
But it became like Queensland focused thing, I guess. And then obviously the borders opened a couple of weeks ago now, and then we've sort of had this situation happen in Sydney. So things have been a little bit shaky over the Christmas period, but we were lucky enough. We played about 3 or 4 festivals before.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Because like we had nothing at all festival wise. Everything just got completely.
Yeah.
And they're wondering even about next year. So fingers crossed that will all go ahead, and maybe you guys can get over here.
See if we can get on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to ask you about your latest single, Thin Skin.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's that about?
That's a big one. I love that song because it means something to me that different to me than it does to other people. But Kahlia wrote that for me essentially as a song that was sort of trying to say, you know, through all the shit that gets thrown your way, you know, that your biggest asset is gritting your teeth and getting through it, and just like keeping your chin up and your head down and focusing on what's important kind of thing. And the song sort of, you know, way saying that, you know, you're always going to have like weird unsuspected stuff coming your way that's going to rock you and shake you up. But yeah, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of like tall poppy sort of, I guess, repercussions here in Australia. Like as soon as you start sort of doing well, people want to shit on you. I don't know what it is. It's just like a smaller town mentality kind of thing. And she's been through it as well. And like, it was sort of like a song that was kind of saying like, none of that stuff matters because it's just like small town people opinion that don't really have anything better to talk about. And the kind of whole idea is the song is like not letting it get under your skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is like, you know, you can't wear your skin thin, babe. So don't you let it. So don't you. You know, don't you let them win. You can't wear your skin thin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
There's a romanticism to it as well, obviously, but yeah.
Sunshine follows you when you walk by. I can't help but under your blue sky. till the ends let me hold them. We are more than what we are made of. Call my name when you're ready to wake up. You're not more than like you leave. Take me as I am when you wear thin. How am I to breathe when all the rain gets in? Oh, you know, you gotta let it go if you're ever gonna win, but you can't wait to skip by. Oh, it shows when you let it grow if you're ever gonna win, but you can't wait to skip by. So don't you let it. So don't you wear it So don't you wear it. Water pouring down from the ceiling. Take your time, it's all we've been given. Lay me down and wrap me into you. Warm your skin and bones when I need to. We've been dreaming too big for the small town. Everybody knows everybody's somewhere. Why don't we run into a sunrise? Leave all of our dark days far behind. How am I to breathe when all the rain gets in? Oh, you know, you gotta let it go if you're ever gonna win. You can't wait to skip by. Oh, it shows when you let it grow if you're ever gonna win. You can't wait to skip by. So don't you let it. So don't you worry. So don't you worry. Oh, you know, you gotta let it go if you're ever gonna win, babe. You can't wait to skip by. Oh, it shows when you let it grow if you're ever gonna win, babe. You can't wait to skip by. So don't you worry. Don't you worry. Don't you Don't you worry. So don't you worry.
The Alpha Sessions.
You also you've got a brand new one coming out really soon. Get Down.
Oh yeah, that's sort of sitting in the back. Oh, Beck, our publicist has been giving away too much. She's great. I think she's jumped the gun. We haven't 100% decided, but that's definitely it's a real sort of sultry bluesy rock
Oh,
kind
cool.
of.
Because Beck said that you were going to play it for us.
I'm going to play it on the.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Performance for you.
Yeah.
So we'll you'll see the vibe of it, but you're getting a stripped back version of it.
Oh,
today.
nice. Looking forward to it.
But yeah, it'll sound even bigger with the full band as well. So
yeah, no, can't wait for you guys to get over here when you can and like to hear the full sound because it's going to be great.
Cool. Yeah, I'm super keen. I know the UK is just a massive cultural hub for just great music, and because the sun doesn't shine over there, so you know what I mean. You got to do
Well,
something.
like ever.
Yeah. You got to. So you just got to do. You know,
To be
you got to
fair,
find
we had
out.
a pretty good year this year with sunshine. Can't complain.
Yeah. Well, you don't want too much. You don't want too much.
No, exactly. Talk to us about Isolation Jams Part 2.
That was a good little thing to put together. We
It's a
had all
great
these
idea.
songs.
Yeah.
We had these songs that were like, I guess they were never going to be singles, and they may never be singles, or some of them. But we thought, you know, like, we've got all this music and it's going to waste, and like, let's get it out there. And it wasn't like something we pushed or promoted heavily, but it had a really great reaction for what it was as well. And we just sort of said, like, let's, like, this is us, like, literally rehearsing these songs. You know, like, they're polished songs, but they're a rehearsal jam version of said tracks. So yeah, I just thought, like, let's just get them out there, and we did, and the response was great, to be honest. But like, all of them will still go back and re-record, and ideally they make the first album or something one day.
Yeah.
Just becomes, it's like, you know, I imagine, I'm not a parent, but it's like probably picking your favorite girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we used to chat quite a lot about like artists picking their favorite songs, and often the comment that I'd always get back was like, I can't pick one, they're all like my children. So I totally get that vibe, and I stopped
You
asking
have
that
favorites
question.
for different reasons. You know what I mean? There's certain songs I know we play where I'm like, this is a really, like, Thin Skin's one of those songs. It's like, this is a really well written song, and it sounds great, powerful, and it's meaningful. But you know, it's a moody, like, you know, grower kind of thing, and the lyrics are obviously sort of like depicting a pretty like introspective kind of view on things. And then there's just other, like, just cocky rock, just riff tracks that are just meant to just sort of make you kick down the front door, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
good to let off steam.
how do you pick up, you know, how do you know,
I guess you have a mixture of all sorts.
exactly.
So
That's probably what makes a great band, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. So if COVID-19 wasn't a thing and you could gig anywhere in the world tomorrow, it doesn't have to be England, I promise, where would it be?
Well, I would, it wouldn't have to be England, but I would still love to do Reading Leeds Fest. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I know it's just that little bit smaller than Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And it's probably just that little bit more raw, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny because over the years the age ranges have like totally changed, and now when you say Reading, like, you kind of think of like a much younger fan base to how it used to be. So I always find that really interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, because here we've obviously got Splendour in the Grass, which is the big one out here in Australia, and that's almost too big now, you know what I mean? Like, it's just massive, like this massive like 5-day festival.
Amazing.
And Blues Fest over here is pretty amazing as well, but that's sort of a similar sort of thing. It's like just that little bit smaller, but it's still got that same amount of energy. But Blues Fest is massive, like, you know what I mean? Like, so many people from all around the world come along to that, so it's still I'm gonna go with Reading probably.
Okay, cool. And if you could be on stage with anyone and collaborate with them, dead or alive, who would it be with?
Noel Gallagher.
Nice.
Yeah.
So between you, like, if you had a dream rider, what would be on that rider? I imagine Noel's would be pretty mental.
I don't smoke, so we'd have to halve the cigarettes, but Benson Hedges cigarettes would probably be on there. But I reckon he's the kind of guy who likes, you know, fine cheeses, and like, he'd order oysters and then only eat like half of them, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of guy. So like, probably like 2 plates of oysters.
Nice.
And a nice bottle of champagne, couple of beers. I wouldn't say any wine. I just don't think he's a wine guy, or at least not a wine guy in that sort of setting. I think beers would be the way to go. And they'd go night, like some nice beers, you know what I mean? Something not too like crafty, but just something nice, something tasty.
Nice.
Gallagher approved.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if people want to find out more about you, where can they go? What can they do?
You can find Sunflower's music on Spotify under it's Sunflower, how it sounds, how it's spelt, and it's got a little cute picture of Kahlia and I in matching red outfits with the sky. You'll be able to find us. So yeah, any of the 3 singles, Better Days, Get Yourself Together, and Thin Skin are available on all the streaming services. We're on YouTube. you can catch the music videos on YouTube, and we're obviously on Facebook and Instagram. So it's Sunflower Official Band on Instagram, and on
Nice.
Facebook you'll find Sunflower Band. So all over the interwebs, every
Hey.
pirating service in the world.
Thank you so much for joining us. I was going to say this morning, but tonight where you are.
Absolutely.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And thanks so much for chatting with us as well.
Thanks so much. Thanks to Alpha Sessions as well. Thanks for having me.
Nice. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Know my name, I crave my style. You're talking cheap, I'm walking wild. A black and blue, call me true. Lead me blind, I'm falling through. It's all the same to you, and I got nothing left to prove, and nothing left to lose. And I only want a ride high and free fly off the ground. They tell me get down. I only want a sunrise and green lights out of town. They tell me get down. 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 Show your face, water waste, shrug it off. You make your case, I fake your grin, I hide your sin, rough it up. I'm wearing it, it's all the same to them. I'm always itching in my skin, and I got everything to win, but I only want I ride high and free fly off the ground. They tell me get down. I only want sunrise and green lights out of town. They tell me get down. 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 Let down. Let down. They tell me get and I only want a ride high and free fly off the ground. They tell me get down. I only want a sunrise and green lights out of town. They tell me get down. 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 They tell me get down.